Most people dress to be seen, to express, to signal who they are or who they want to be. But some don't. Some wear the same thing every day, not because they lack taste, but because they've outgrown the need for performance. They've realized that clothes, like conversation, can become a disguise, a way to shape how the world sees you, even when that version isn't real. You've seen them, quiet, composed, always in the same outfit. A black t-shirt, a grey hoodie, a pair of worn jeans that seem to exist outside of time. They move through the world unnoticed, almost invisible, not because they're trying to hide, but because they're done trying to impress. At first glance, it looks like simplicity, but underneath, there's a psychology, a story about identity, control, and emotional peace. Psychologists call it decision fatigue, the mental exhaustion that comes from making too many choices. Every small decision, what to wear, what to eat, what to post, drains the brain's energy reserves. People who wear the same clothes often do so as an act of conservation. They eliminate the unnecessary so they can focus on what actually matters. Steve Jobs once said that he wore his black turtleneck every day to save energy for innovation. Albert Einstein owned several identical grey suits so he wouldn't have to waste thought on trivialities. It's not about the clothes, it's about freedom. Freedom from the invisible weight of constant self-presentation. But there's another layer, a quieter, more human one. For many, repeating the same outfit is an act of emotional grounding. It's a way to bring stability into a chaotic world. In a culture where everything changes too fast, trends, people, values, wearing the same thing becomes an anchor. It's a silent reminder, I know who I am, even if everything else keeps shifting. To someone like that, fashion doesn't define identity, constancy does. Their outfit becomes a ritual, a small act of control in a life that's full of unpredictability. When you pay attention, you'll notice something else too. These people often have minimalist minds. They're not chasing novelty, they're chasing clarity. They've seen how the world confuses image with essence, and they've quietly chosen essence. Philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once said, "Purity of heart is to will one thing." That's what this is, a kind of purity, not moral, but psychological. It's the clarity that comes from knowing that the outer world doesn't need constant reinvention. Somewhere along the line, they stopped dressing for approval and started dressing for alignment. It's not always a conscious decision either. Sometimes it's born from anxiety, the comfort of routine in a world that demands change. For others, it's a form of emotional regulation. Putting on the same clothes creates predictability, a small island of sameness in a sea of uncertainty. It's the same reason some people eat the same breakfast every morning, take the same route to work, listen to the same song before bed. It's not monotony, it's therapy. Psychologists call this self-soothing through structure. It's a behavior pattern seen in people who carry quiet, overthinking minds. When the world feels unstable, repetition becomes a form of calm. But for others, wearing the same clothes is rebellion, a quiet protest against a society that tells you to constantly reinvent yourself to stay relevant. They see through the illusion that change equals progress, that difference equals worth. They've realized that identity doesn't need to be curated every morning. It can simply be. In that way, sameness becomes power. It says, I don't need to prove anything. I'm not here to perform. I'm not dressing for you. You see, in a world obsessed with individuality, true individuality sometimes looks like indifference. While everyone else is trying to stand out, they've chosen to blend in, and in doing so, they've freed themselves. When you stop dressing to impress, you stop living to impress. You stop asking, how do I look? And start asking, who am I when no one's watching? People who always wear the same thing often have high self-concept clarity, a term psychologists use to describe the degree to which you understand and accept who you are. They don't need validation through visual variety. They know what feels authentic, and that's enough. It's not that they don't care how they look, it's that they care more about how they feel. They understand that comfort breeds confidence, not aesthetics, and that identity, when stable, doesn't need to be announced. Sometimes, though, there's melancholy in it, a quiet sadness that hides beneath simplicity. Some people dress the same because they've stopped expecting to be noticed. They've learned the hard way that the world often values appearance over essence. So they stop trying to compete. They stop trying to play the game. They retreat into the safety of sameness, where judgment has no entry point. And maybe that's their way of healing, by disappearing from the gaze that once made them question themselves. But don't mistake their simplicity for emptiness. Often these are the people with the richest inner worlds. They've simply chosen to invest their energy inward instead of outward. Where others decorate, they distill. Where others amplify, they refine. They're not trying to be seen, they're trying to be understood. The philosopher Alain de Botton once wrote that style is a way of saying complicated things without speaking. And in that sense, their sameness speaks volumes. It says, I've found peace in repetition. I've chosen stillness over spectacle. I've stopped dressing for the world and started dressing for myself. Their wardrobe becomes a mirror of their mind, quiet, consistent, intentional. Every repeated outfit is a declaration of emotional order. Every unchanging look is a refusal to be dragged into the chaos of trends and noise. And yet there's beauty in that stillness, because when you stop using your clothes to speak, your actions, your eyes, your presence start to. You no longer announce yourself, you simply arrive. That's the paradox. They don't need to say, "This is who I am." Their stillness already does. So the next time you see someone who always wears the same thing, don't assume they lack imagination. Maybe they've just seen through the illusion. Maybe they've realized that authenticity isn't about standing out, it's about standing still. Because when you've made peace with who you are, you no longer need to change your skin every morning to prove it. Sometimes sameness isn't stagnation, it's self-mastery.